Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to NoDQ&A video right here on NoDQ.com, as well as the YouTube channel and NoDQ&A videos affiliate, ringsidenews.com. Got your questions from twitter.com/AaronRift. So let's get started today with the first question, which comes to us from Will Hinson. Do you think a great member for Team Undertaker versus the Wyatt family at Survivor Series, and if not, who? Please answer in video. I would not bring The Rock back at Survivor Series because you already have a hook for this pay-per-view. It is the 25-year anniversary since The Undertaker first debuted at Survivor Series. That is how the show is being marketed. The Undertaker is the star of this pay-per-view. He is the name that they are advertising for the pay-per-view. No need to bring back The Rock. The Rock would not serve any real purpose. You should bring back The Rock when he can be the draw. He can be the guy that you build the show around. Just doesn't make sense to bring him back for Survivor Series. So no, I would not bring The Rock back. I think it's better to hold off on him until WrestleMania, quite frankly. Alright, this one comes from Dwayne Russell. Hey Aaron, do you think Sting should have a match with The Rock? That's a dream match no one else seems to be talking about. I think people do not talk about that because it just wouldn't be a great idea to have a babyface versus a babyface. I think Sting would be better off going up against a top-level heel. Sometimes face versus face works. You look at Hogan versus the Warrior from WrestleMania 6, but that was two guys that were at the peak of their careers. With Sting, he's an all-time legend, and with The Rock, I just feel the match would not really have the right dynamic. I think if you had Sting in there with a top-level heel such as a Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania, I think you would have more fan reaction to Sting. With Sting, it's really tricky because he is a name from WCW, he is a legend, and I sense that perhaps a casual audience would tend to cheer The Rock over Sting. That's just my gut feeling on it. I don't think it would be best for Sting to do Rock versus Sting at this stage of the game. If Sting's going to have any more matches in WWE, I just feel he's better off. I feel the match would have a better dynamic if Sting went up against a full-fledged heel. That's just my opinion. Alright, this one comes from Blue Blood Live. With speculation about a possible Shane return in 2016, could he, along with Triple H, be the answer to the poor product? Speculation about Shane in 2016? There's been speculation about Shane for years now. I seriously get a question about Sting, or excuse me, did I just say Shane or Sting? I'm getting confused here. Shane McMahon. There's been speculation about him coming back for years. It seems every 6 months or so I get a question about Shane McMahon and if he'll be coming back and will he be taking over the company again. And I think the latest speculation has been fueled by a recent photo that surfaced of Batista with Shane McMahon at the preview of the James Bond movie. I think Shane McMahon would perhaps be helpful in a storyline situation where he comes back and he takes back power from the Authority and he's the good guy that's going to push the young guys. If WWE ever wanted to do a storyline like that where Triple H and Stephanie were holding on to John Cena and Randy Orton, although that one really makes sense because Triple H loves NXT, but you know how WWE is, they would still somehow try to come up with a storyline like that. But anyways, Shane McMahon as the babyface savior of WWE, that could work as a storyline. I think that would be credible enough. But Shane McMahon has pretty much been out of the picture behind the scenes in WWE for years. And I don't sense him coming back in and having control. I mean, it's clear that Triple H and Stephanie have control. And once Vince is out of the picture, they're going to be the ones running the company. So Shane is not really the answer to the problems in WWE, not just on camera but off camera. Alright, this one comes from Calvin Bowman. Hey Aaron, please answer in video. What do you think of JR turning heel during the interview segment with Bart Gunn? I was entertained by it, even though the idea of JR as a heel, especially when he has Bell's palsy, I find that idea to be completely ridiculous, but that's Vince Russo for you. I enjoyed the segment where you had Ed Ferrara as the fake JR. This was prior to the whole fiasco in WCW as Oklahoma, but when they just brought him out to make fun of JR, and then you had Dr. Death destroy him with the suplexes. I thought that was a great segment. And I didn't really get bothered by it because at the time, you know, WWE had this attitude during the Attitude Era that there were no good guys or bad guys. This is what Vince said in his promo. There were shades of gray. And with Jim Ross, you know, you could cheer him, you could boo him, whatever you want to do. He's just Jim Ross. He's pissed off about his situation, and he's pissed off at Michael Cole, and he does what he's going to do, and he has Dr. Death as his muscle. So it is what it is. I mean, that's how I saw that whole angle. And I thought it was entertaining, but, you know, obviously people aren't going to boo JR as a heel, so they quickly dropped that whole aspect of the storyline after a couple of weeks. Alright, this one comes from Justin. Couldn't finish my thought in a tweet. What's your opinion on how the streak ended? They've done great with Lesnar since then, but I think it should have ended in a 1 vs. 3 match against The Shield. It would have made Taker look strong in defeat and pushed 3 young stars to the moon. I don't think this would have been a good idea because it would have watered down the streak being ended. It should be ended by 1 guy, not 3. I don't see how 3 guys beating 1 guy really elevates the 3 guys. To me, it's just meaningless. It wouldn't have meant much for the Shield to end the Undertaker's streak, and you know, Undertaker losing to 3 guys doesn't mean all that much. It's Undertaker losing in a one-on-one match to somebody that is significant and puts that person on the map, the guy that beats Undertaker. So I would not have gone with that. I think that would have been a mistake. I think going with Lesnar was a better choice, although, you know, I question some of WWE's booking decisions with Lesnar. But, you know, if you're going to have Undertaker lose at WrestleMania, and some people out there feel Undertaker shouldn't have lost, period. If you're going to have Undertaker lose, you want to have him lose to somebody that is dominant and credible, and Brock Lesnar fit that bill, even though fans didn't believe Lesnar was going to win. I mean, that just goes to show how poorly WWE booked Brock Lesnar leading up to that. He should have gone on a rampage, undefeated, beating all the top guys in WWE leading up to Undertaker. But instead, they had him lose to Cena, they had him lose a match to Triple H, and then he eventually got his win back. And then they had Brock beat the Big Show. Whoop-de-doo. Alright, this one comes from John. Hey Aaron, who do you think Rollins is the worst on the mic today? Okay, I think you're trying to say Rollins is the worst on the mic today. Do you think Rollins is the worst on the mic? I'm assuming that's your question here. Face to face with 30 seconds, what the hell are you doing here, Sean? I think Seth is really good on the mic. I think the problem is that he's given some really bad material at times, and unless you're an all-time great promo like Ric Flair or The Rock, bad material will bring you down. It will be hard to make that bad material work. There are exceptions. Some people can do it, but as good as Rollins is, I don't think he's strong enough on the mic to overcome the really bad writing. Rollins is really good at delivering his lines. I feel that he does a tremendous job, and I think that that's one of the reasons he's gotten pushed to the top in WWE, because when he turned heel, he came out there, he did the promos, and he knows exactly what to say, how to say it. His delivery is great. I mean, he does a really tremendous job, but, you know, sometimes he's given bad material that makes him look weak, and you can't really blame him for that. I mean, Shawn Michaels is an all-time legend. He's a guy that can go out there with no script and say what needs to be said. And sometimes when you're somebody like Seth Rollins who has to rely on the scripted promos, it's hard because these veterans, they know how to do it without the scripts. And you know, it sometimes shows when you have a guy in there who's a old school, a student of the game, and then you have somebody who's younger, who's having to rely on WWE's system and how everything is scripted. You know, it shows. Alright, this one comes from D. Allen 11. What did you think of Shelton Benjamin's WWE run, and how would you have booked it differently? A couple of things. First off, I think they had him talk too much. I think Shelton's strength was his in-ring ability. He wasn't a great talker, wasn't the most charismatic guy, and I think WWE tried to make him too much into a multi-dimensional entertainment character like they always do. You have to stick to the person's strengths. And as far as his matches, his win-loss record, I mean, the biggest mistake was having him lose to Triple H. I think that really caused him to lose his momentum. And I even had a friend at the time who was watching, and he pretty much gave up on wrestling, but he tuned in to watch that match, and then when it was over, Triple H won, he looked at me and said, "This is exactly why I stopped watching." WWE had the opportunity to create a new star with Shelton Benjamin. He had a lot of momentum, and when he lost to Triple H, people just gave up hope on him, and he just, slipped away to the mid-card, and that was that. All right, this one comes from Ty Marshall. Hey Aaron, in your opinion, what is Kurt Angle's best WrestleMania match out of these two? Christ Benoit, I think he meant Chris Benoit, at WrestleMania 17, or Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 21? Definitely the match with Michaels at 21. I take nothing away from the WrestleMania match with Benoit, but I think that they had better matches after that. I would say their best match was either Unforgiven 2002 or... Actually, I would say the Royal Rumble 2003 was their best match, but, Benoit and Angle always had great matches, but that WrestleMania 21 match with Shawn Michaels and Kurt Angle, just almost a perfect match. I mean, there's no real criticism I have for that match. I mean, I suppose maybe Shawn was in the submission hold for just a little too long, and, that took away a little bit of the realism. I mean, in a real fight, how can you stay in that ankle lock for that long? But I mean, it was such a dramatic match, and the storyline leading up to it was shared. I mean, everything about it. I mean, it was an all-time classic. So I would have to go with Michaels and Angle at 21, and that was the match that stole the show on that pay-per-view. All right, this one comes from Anna Tube. Hi Aaron, tough question, I know. I subscribed to the network for 1 month. Can you suggest 5 pay-per-views that cannot be missed through history? Actually, this is a very easy question. WrestleMania 3, because of the historical significance of it with Hogan and Andre, Savage and Steamboat, and just the whole atmosphere of 93,000 people. WrestleMania 17 in Houston, arguably the greatest WWE pay-per-view of all time. Many would say that, and I would probably agree with that as well, despite the fact that I did not like how the pay-per-view ended. WrestleMania 19, which in my opinion is the second best WrestleMania of all time. Dream match after dream match. Shawn Michaels, Chris Jericho, Hulk Hogan versus Vince McMahon, Steve Austin versus The Rock, Kurt Angle versus Brock Lesnar. Just a stacked card. Royal Rumble 1992 with Ric Flair. The whole 60-minute epicness, I guess you could say, with Bobby Heenan doing commentary, Gorilla Monsoon. That pay-per-view and the Mountie and Roddy Piper. That was... in my opinion, the greatest Royal Rumble pay-per-view of all time. And SummerSlam 2002. Rock and Brock, Rey Mysterio versus Kurt Angle, Shawn Michaels versus Triple H, and so many more great matches on that card. Probably the best pay-per-view card WWE ever produced in terms of just one great match after another. So those would be my 5. Alright, that'll wrap it up for this edition of NoDQ&A video. Thanks as always for watching. Subscribe at youtube.com/NoDQCAW. Please tell a friend about NoDQ&A video. Help spread the word. Anybody you know who watches wrestling, have them check out this video. And I will see you guys next time for more.